This video contains gratuitous use of profanity and uncomfortable pauses to compensate for lack of professionalism and original thought. Viewer discretion advised.
Coming to you live from the Galactic Sportatorium, we bring you the Nerdy Manroom show with your host, Hassel and Monster. Monster, how the hell's it been, brother?
It's been all right. Been on the road for a little bit. Just got home Friday. It was a good week of work. Just swapping shifts all week long. So
That's never any good when you can't
full day of travel on Monday.
Days and nights, right?
Yeah, full day of travel on Monday. Tuesday was a regular work day. Wednesday was for the most part regular. Then we did a training session on Wednesday, but it was still a regular hours. And then leave there Thursday. We don't start till 3 p.m. to do the next training session. So it's like, I got to adjust and try to sleep in. And that worked for a whole extra 30 minutes. So it didn't do much. And then I got up and just sat in the hotel for hours. I was like, I could go to the site, but man, I really don't want to spend that many hours there because we're not starting till 3 p.m. We won't be out till midnight roughly. I don't want to sit there that long. I'll just sit at the hotel.
No shit.
Sit at the hotel and work, but still, it was at the hotel at least.
At the Holiday Inn.
Oh no, we go Hilton or Hampton or whatever they own.
Oh yeah, the Cobra spares no expense.
I won't go that far, but yeah, I'm not a fan of the Holiday Inns.
He flew in on his corporate jet.
Yeah, no. I did get upgraded to first class on both trips. So
see, there goes people. He can't hide it.
Have enough points now that I automatically go into the upgrade list. I don't ever ask for it, but hey, I got it on both flights on the way to there and one of the flights on the way back.
Hey. Baller.
Yeah, not quite. Just use it enough that they're like, yeah, we feel sorry for you. Oh, but this week we do have we've got into we've killed enough time here, but this week we have a big show. We're going to discuss wrestling. That's our focus topic for this week. We've got talk about some of the state of wrestling. There's been a lot going on the last few weeks, and then we've got
moving and a shaking.
Yeah, we got WWE Fastlane coming up. Is it this weekend?
Saturday. It's Saturday.
So we'll take a look at that and do some predictions on it while we're in it. But before we get to that, we will definitely do just a general state of affairs of wrestling. But before that, let's go into Geek Week. Hassel, I will let you go first because I don't remember who went first last time because it's been several days and I don't know if I've slept or not since then.
But it sounds like you hadn't. Ruling a terrorist corporation is hell on the body. Yeah, me, I just work with wood, so it is what it is. But it's giggity. We've had a pretty good geek week over here at the Hassel Islands of Adventure, so to speak. It's the MLB playoffs starting this week. The wild card games is going on tonight as we speak. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's that October baseball time of year, so that's always good for me. I enjoy that, especially with the way the Braves are playing right now. It's just theirs to lose. Anything less of a World Series win, I think, is probably a mar on their season. But they've shattered all kind of records, and it's just been insane if you're a Braves fan this year. So it's pretty exciting right there. The Dogs have been muddling the road. We're 4-0, but they've had me clutching my heart like Fred Sanford a few times. I had to work this past Saturday, so I missed like the first 30 minutes of the game, and then I got home and I was just like, I got to talk pretty ugly. It was bad enough at one point because you've always been practicing sobriety as of late, and it got to a point at one point my wife says, "Do you want me to go to the shop and get you one of those beers?" I knew at that point I had been ugly. I didn't take her up on that until the Falcons lost on Sunday, but I did take her up on it on Sunday. So Falcons flew all the way to London to get their asses kicked by the Jaguars. So they was
I forgot
that.
they were over there. I remember seeing that the other day, but I forgot about it.
Yeah, they went across the old pond there and got their ass kicked, and I mean kicked. It wasn't as bad as the Broncos Dolphins debacle, but it was pretty bad. Ritter sucks. We're in for a dismal season, I believe. But it is what it is. So I did try to watch Flash finally. Saturday evening or Sunday evening. I finally sat down. I was like, I'm gonna finish this movie and watch it. And I got to where they rescue Supergirl. That's as far as I got into it. And I will honestly say the only fucking good thing about this movie so far is Michael Keaton. Like, that's it. That's just nostalgia.
The girl who plays Supergirl was very good too, but you didn't watch any of that really yet.
Yeah, so. I haven't got to that. She was recharging in the sun, and then she said, fuck you, and flew off. That's where I made it to. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. The beginning of it was hard to watch. I'm going to be honest. It was like, ooh, and I love the Snyderverse. I really do, but
they were. I don't know what they were reaching for in that movie, but you saw the scene I'm talking about at the very beginning, and it's been out long enough now and on so many platforms. I can. Yes. The whole save the baby scene was just.
It was cringe.
That was bad. It was just really, really cringe. Bad.
And I like Andy Muschietti, the director of the movie. I love what he did with it, and he's done some other things that I'm a fan of. But
doing Batman next.
I thought I got canned.
No, he's the pick for James Gunn for Batman as long as everything still holds up. I mean, Strike.
You talking about the reboot Batman? I got you. Yeah. I got you. I know he was rumored to be doing a Batman Beyond, which I was actually pretty pumped about.
I don't. That's I think scrap, but for an actual Batman movie, he was tapped for that by James Gunn.
I will see. He didn't really do it for me with the Flash, but I mean, I'm not huge on Ezra Miller, which I will say the kid didn't. What little I've seen of him, he wasn't bad in the role. I do like how he played like dual roles, so to speak.
I think he did a good job playing multiple versions of the character.
Yeah.
He just neither one of those versions was an accurate version of that character.
Yeah, there's neither of those is Barry.
No,
I mean that is Wally West at best.
And it's still a far cry from that, but closer to it.
So I was like, okay. So I got about, I got to that point there, and I cut it off. Started cooking, and then I just never went back and cut it back on. So it's like
one quick question before we move off of it. When he's running in the Speed Force, is it just me, or does it look like his legs are moving in the wrong direction? It's like they're going backwards.
Well, he was. So I thought he was rewinding time.
Yeah, but why would his legs move in the wrong direction? I didn't get that.
Yeah, I wasn't big on that either. I was just like, because he runs so fast, and all of a sudden he starts running in reverse, and I'm just like, oh, it was fucking cringe, dude. I'm gonna be honest. Casey, I know you're out here somewhere just like masturbating to this movie, but it's fucking cringe so far. I'm gonna tough it out just because of my love of Michael Keaton, and I do want to see Nick Cage in the Superman suit on screen. So I'll finish it with that, and yes, I've seen the spoilers where they kill off my Batman, so to speak. I'm not happy about that, but I haven't got there yet, so I'll probably crack a little bitch during that. As far as toy haul wise, I've had some pretty good toy hauls this week. Our boy, friend of the show, Big Rob, Big Rob's House Entertainment, and no Chinese food. He picked me up a Captain America Winter Soldier Shield from the Ollies for the low. Super pumped about that.
I picked up. That was in my just to jump ahead. That was in my Geek Week as well because I picked one of those up myself. So for those of you out there who want one of these, check out your local Ollies. Check out Big Al's review from like 2 weeks ago. I think. I don't think it was this past week. I think it was the one before that. He actually talked about finding it there and picking it up by this $100 plus item picked up for like $40 there, and it's scarce.
$39.99, people.
Yeah, it's scarce because I went to one Ollie's, never saw it. Went to another one, a whole pallet about half of my body size full of them.
Well, the day you guys found those, I checked 2 different Ollies out in 2 different states, and I didn't see the first one. I did come across the Mortal Kombat 2 arcade machine and NFL Blitz, and it was very hard to leave NFL Blitz there. I'm gonna be honest.
I saw Blitz too, and I thought the same thing, but I was like, man, that's just too much right now.
I stood there in front of this machine for like a good 10 minutes. And my wife was like, leave it now. But I will say I did see his Trapper Wolf helmet. It was pretty badass.
I saw a pallet of those and a pallet of shields next to each other, and I'm about 5'11", and they were up to my chest, so there was at least 10 to 15 of each one of them stacked up on top of each other.
Well, while I am a Star Wars fan, I don't typically go in for stuff like that, but I will say it looked damn good. It had me thinking,
for
that price, I may go in for it. Because you could probably meet Filoni one day at a con somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be something cool to get signed.
Yeah, I typically buy Power Ranger helmets just to have all of those, but that's the only things. Like, I don't buy any other, role play, cosplay type stuff like that. Like, I'll get a lightsaber or something, but typically it's Power Ranger weapons and helmets. But for that price, I came close to buying it, and I was like, I ain't got nowhere to put it. So
I know it's a rabbit hole for me because I have a ton of the Power Ranger stuff. I got the helmets. Like, I even got Zed, and then I got the morphers and communicators and dragon daggers and Saba and all this good shit. And I had to stop there because I was about to try to build the fucking power weapon. So I had to stop there, and I know it's a rabbit hole. If I buy one, I will fall down it and just it'll be bad.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to avoid it. If I run across one, I'll buy it. But if I don't, I'm not going out of my way to get one. But beyond that, he also did pick me up a commemorative series, Starscream Coronation series. He actually I found that at Ollie's. I was super surprised. It was like $14. I was like, holy shit, you done my boy wrong. Which I will say he is redeemed in Kirkman's Transformers. I can't really review it till tomorrow because I gotta wait till the 4th. I did get a early copy of it to review, and so Hassel's review will have that this week. But Starscream's a badass in it. They finally give my boy some real props, so I'm happy with that. I'm gonna finish up my toy front in my Geek Week as well. I got the Nightfall Batman that you sent me, and I opened him. He's badass. I loved him. Got a couple Joes. Got the Range Viper, the Televiper with Trouble Bubble. I got Lowlight, and I got Firefly. So I got to do some unboxings of those. And I got, I was just showing you my Battle Damage Vader from Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is a fucking underrated figure. I mean, I want to open it so bad just because of how cool he looks with the busted faceplate. It looks great. Oh, and I have a Vision. So, yeah. Pretty decent week on haul.
It sounds like it. And you said that was the end of your Geek Week, so I'll go straight into mine. And leading straight off of that, I've had the same thing. I left town, and every day I had something new show up. I got back to town, had more, but I too many G.I. Joe classifies the name, but I've had several of them come in. Actually, looking over here next to me, I've got to buy a new shelf because I'm out of shelf space, but so I've got to buy some new display area this coming weekend. But I have about 16 figures I haven't opened over here just looking at them.
These are called collector struggles, people. You don't know these struggles unless you're a real collector.
I have 16 over there, and at least 12 of them are G.I. Joe.
But you know what? That's a good time when you finally actually do sit down and
it will be.
It's almost like a kid at Christmas again.
It will be, but I've got everything back from the Shipwreck and Rock and Roll when they first came out all the way up to this week. I received Grunt yesterday, Lowlight the day before. Snow Job is over there. I've also got some Power Rangers I need to open, like the Red Turbo Ranger from my Red Ranger shelf. But I've got a lot of stuff in, but I will say the standouts that I've gotten, and I just want to mention them quickly, is that Power Rangers Lightning Collection, the Omega Ranger 4-pack. That was a really cool set to come in. Those figures look great, and I have two.
Dude, I'm surprised how quick you got those. That was like,
well, they were already in stock.
Fast.
A lot of the PulseCon exclusives were already in stock, and then when they sold out, they put them back up for pre-order for release in November because I guess they've already got more on the way. But I bought 2 of that Omega Rangers pack because I always open up a Red Ranger and put him in with my shelf because I got a shelf that's just Red Rangers actually out of the box displayed. Everything else is still in the box. But so I messed up when I bought the Alien Ranger pack. They're still available, but I only bought one. And I was like, I'll find the Red Ranger loose on eBay or something. No, the Red Ranger loose on eBay, the few times I've seen him is going for like $40. I'm like, for that much, I'd rather
Holy
just
shit.
buy the whole set again, open it
Yeah.
up, take that red one out, and go sell the rest of them myself and see what I can get back out of it.
Wow.
And it's a Mega Ranger pack, so I said, I'm just going to go ahead and buy 2 of these. And I've got one to open when I get around to getting some new shelves. So, because I've got to move the G.I. Joes I have out into a whole brand new case by themselves so I can open all the extra ones. But I need another shelf for my Red Rangers because it's full, and I still have Red Turbo Ranger. I need the Red Alien Ranger. I've got the Red Omega Ranger come in, and the remastered Red Ranger with the shield is supposed to be coming out soon. So I need to open it. So I'm like, I got to have to redo that shelf anyhow. So
Yeah, I have that one coming, and I got the Green Ranger without the shield.
yeah,
on
and
the
it's
way.
interchangeable on those figures, but still, I'm waiting on those to come in because I bought 2 of the red ones to open one of those. And but anyway, I've got, like I said, 16 figures open if I ever actually get around to it. But the other standout thing that came in was well, since we've already talked about the Captain America show, was the Master Morpher they made for Tommy. That's actually really nice looking, really neat. I've got yours. I've got to ship it to you. It'll probably be by the end of the week, but it won't be today. And we're recording on Tuesday, so look for that to arrive to you next week sometime.
Sweet.
Because it'll be the end of the week before I even leave the house, other than work. Yeah, I got that in, and it's really nice looking. It doesn't come with the batteries and stuff, but I think every phrase that was recorded for it was the last project he went in and did after Hasbro took over the property and stuff. He went in and did some new recording, so all the phrases are freshly recorded from. They're not previous TV series. It's all him, and it's got all the coins in it that he would have had. They even included 2 coins for the White Ranger. They put the Falcon and the White Tiger in there, whereas on the show when he used that Morpher, he just had the White Tiger one.
Yeah.
So they
Did you see the video that Jenna done for it?
I did.
That was actually pretty heartwarming there. It was.
Yeah, and I think all the proceeds of that, or at least a portion of the proceeds, maybe not all, but a large portion of it was supposed to be going to a suicide hotline.
Yeah.
Or mental health hotline, maybe. So.
Yeah, I think that's how they termed it, was mental health awareness or something of this sort.
But that was really
cool. They churched it up a little bit, but.
And they had some really nice, I don't think we've recorded since they had the PulseCon, but they had a lot of nice stuff on there when stuff came. A lot of things that I pre-ordered for G.I. Joe especially, and they revealed a ton of G.I. Joe stuff. The only thing besides G.I. Joe's I pre-ordered, though, was, and I just pre-ordered them today, was the new Marvel Legends set came out, and they had Justice and Namorita, and I need those to finish off my new Warriors, so I was happy to see them, but I'm not expecting them to be like big sellers unless you were building that team, and I was, so.
What is the Namor from?
It's from his book from the 90s. They did a storyline called Savage Namor, and it was drawn by Pat Lee, one of those. And when that was just how he was.
That's probably Jay Lee, because Pat Lee was the one that done Transformers, and he was like fucking fantastic. Jay Lee's shit was real gritty, and everybody was a little.
And it was supposed to be like it wasn't like a devolved, which it kind of looks like he's a devolved version of Namor. It's not that. It's just he wanted to make him more angry underwater guy, like the year they grew out Aquaman's hair, gave him the beard, and cut his hand off. They just wanted to make him. It's the 90s. They wanted to make him edgy. So
Jay Lee had a decent run on Wolverine that I remember in there, but it was a real gritty look, almost very Frank Miller-ish. Aside from everybody's not bulky.
Yeah. So. Those came out today for pre-order, and I think they're a February release, which everything else I was seeing when ordering was like December and January. I'm like, dang, that's pretty close. And I haven't heard yet, but usually they do another event on the 27th of October because their street address for their home office is 1027. So the last few years they've done a 1027 day and done like more releases. And I noticed they said a couple of times in the PulseCon that they had something else. They had more releases for pre-orders coming in October, like the G.I. Joe when they said it's going to be a bigger pre-order, not more stuff, but I think it's going to be that Vamp vehicle that comes with clutch, the little ATV or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But they're saying that it's going to be a bigger G.I. Joe pre-order in October, so I'm assuming that's what that is. But I haven't heard anything about that 1027 day yet.
It's got to be better than New York Comic-Con or New York Toy Fair. I apologize.
Yeah. There's so much stuff already been revealed leading up to that. I don't know. Yeah. The Toy Fair is usually in February, so that was kind of a weird thing.
The only thing I've seen that was of any good to me was the Archangel, the Marvel. But Marvel Select shit looks so good in pictures.
They don't pose for crap.
The Iceman, I got him over there on the shelf, and he's literally leaned back. I mean, I did a whole review on it, but I mean, I won't harp on it too much. But he just
they don't have the posability. They have the sculpt work, but they don't have the posability that everybody else does, which is why I don't buy any of those, honestly. So that Archangel looked good. The other big news I saw from it is that I think since its inception, unless I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure that Toy Fair has always been in New York. I know they do a London Toy Fair and stuff like that too, but that version of it's always been in New York, and now in 2026 it's moving to New Orleans.
Wow,
so that was kind of weird.
Considering it's actually called New York Toy Fair.
Yeah, so that was kind of weird, but I guess we'll hear more on that when it gets to it. And again, that's in 2026. That's still 2 years away. But other than that, for my Geek Week, other than getting stuff in and getting to look at it and hang it on the wall and set it to the side till I can open it, I have been reading a lot of comics. I actually had 2 months worth of comics that had been here and I just hadn't read them. And I'm actually caught up all except for like maybe 20 books at this point. So I'm pretty close to having all those read. But honestly, there's not a whole lot of it that's been memorable. And I didn't just speed through it either. I actually read them, but I'm like, none of the stories are standing out that much. The X-Men stuff right now is, I don't know what their plan was. They were going to do this House of X, Powers of X, and then they were going to turn around, tear them back down. And the way they've done it's almost like they just want to purposely run them into the ground and destroy the whole X-Men franchise is the way it comes off some of it. So that was, nothing I've read out of that's been any good. The Power Rangers books have still been good. The 30th anniversary special was really good that Amy Jo Johnson wrote part of, and the regular series has been really good. I will say that I read the first issue of the new Daredevil run because they just ended like a 13-issue arc and started over at #1, which no need to start at #1, but whatever. I will say that it was actually pretty interesting when I read it today. It actually was a fun read. It was one of those I could sit down and just enjoy reading it. I read it right before we started recording this, and it was very quick and easy. And the Superman books have always, of the last few months, have been really good. So,
what is your thoughts on the constant rebooting of the #1s? I mean, I know how I feel, but I mean, how do you actually feel about it?
I don't understand it for sake of the. I don't understand, especially when you turn around and put the legacy number on there too. Say, oh, this is this legacy issue. We're going to celebrate an anniversary. I'm like, no, you're not, because you just stopped. You just stopped and started over. It's not an anniversary anymore. I don't care for that. I just start a new story arc. You don't have to renumber the issues because of that. If you're changing the book fully, like Amazing Spider-Man becomes Superior Spider-Man, and you're going to do that indefinitely without a definite endpoint in mind when you do that, then absolutely. Start it over at Superior Spider-Man #1. Then when you come back to Amazing, you can start it back. Now, if you're doing that temporarily, you could just change the title for a few months temporarily.
No.
Now, if you don't have an endpoint in mind, sure, change it.
Dan Ditto is the only one I've actually heard give a bullshit reason into that, and it was from a publisher's perspective. He made the comment that nobody gets excited about issue 76 or issue 498. Nobody gets excited for that, but if they put #1 on there, it piques excitement and gives everybody this. I'm like, why not just sell the fucking story? Exactly. Make the story interesting enough to where people want to pick up issue 76. The all new arc, whatever it is, whoever he's battling, and put some fucking good art on there to where people's like, shit, I want to pick this up. This kicks off a new story. We got 6 issues of this. Let's go. It doesn't have to be #1 every time.
Yeah.
That shit just grabs my ass. I'm not a big fan of it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I just don't understand it. But after that, I've read a bunch of stuff, and I honestly, when I got home, because the kid wasn't coming over this weekend because they had other stuff going on, so I was like, I had nothing else to do but sit down and binge a bunch of shows. Caught up on all my other stuff I've been watching except for Ahsoka, Only Murders in the Building, which I know we don't discuss on here and you don't necessarily watch, but I enjoy that show. It's stupid funny to me. I haven't watched The Little Mermaid yet, but it's on Disney now, and I want to see it. And I want to see The Meg too, but I'm waiting on the kid to come over this weekend to watch it because he wants to see it. And but show-wise, I did catch up on stuff, and I started a few new shows. The Continental, I'm just going to start there because I'm going to start at the low point and go to the high point. I want to like that show so bad, but it's so hard.
Really?
It's not bad. The story's not bad. The overall story's okay. But every episode is an hour and a half or more. It's an hour 20 to an hour and a half.
Really?
Yeah, so I'm like, it starts waxing and waning throughout it. So it's like, starts off maybe action packed, then it dies for a long period and comes back. So it's like, it starts losing my interest. The
Do we
overall
really
story is
want
okay,
that
but we could
much
have
about
cut
Winston?
a lot out. It's not bad, but there's a lot of stuff you could have just cut out and made it more interesting. I'm not going to spoil anything on here. I mean, everybody who hasn't seen it, because it just started last week, I think. The first two I know were on Peacock, and I watched them. But
So is it just violence, or we get a little nudity?
Yes, there is nudity in the first episode.
Hey, there you go, people.
But it's just the runtime of it. It's like, I get that they're trying to tell a story, but either give us more episodes that are shorter and make it a full season versus trying to say we're only going to do 7 or 8 episodes and making them an hour and a half long, or just do a dang movie. One of the two. This hour and a half.
I don't know if I want 8 hours of Winston. I'm gonna be honest.
There's so much more to it than that. And I don't want to spoil anything, but there's more to it than just that. I mean, yes, he's the main character, and yes, it's the backstory of the Continental, but there's a lot going on that it's worth watching for. I would say, other than that, before I got to it, I actually sat down and watched Castlevania Nocturne, the new Castlevania show on Netflix.
Has that dropped?
Yeah. It dropped last Thursday, and Power Rangers dropped on Friday.
Holy shit, how did I sleep on that and not know it?
It's only 8 episodes. I think they're 30 minutes roughly.
Yeah, typically about 20 to 30 minutes.
It's very good. It's a follow-up to the previous show. It's set, for some reason, I want to say 300 years after the last one, but maybe not that long, or maybe longer. I can't remember. I don't remember the exact time frame, but it's a different Belmont, and it talks about their history some. And I mean, everything I've seen from it, it's very entertaining to sit there and watch. There's a few lull points where it's like, okay, move the talking along a little bit, but it actually keeps my interest enough that I enjoy to watch it. I mean, if I was rating it, I can't rate Continental because it's just too hard. If I was rating Castlevania, I'd say a solid 8 out of 10. I mean, it's just a fun watch.
I wanted to watch this. I didn't realize it was out yet. Casey had sent me something a little while back, showing me the preview for it, and it looked good. I just didn't realize it was out yet.
Yeah. Just like I said, just last week, I think on Thursday, it was either Wednesday or Thursday, because it dropped one day, and Power Rangers Cosmic Fury, the new Power Ranger show, which is the other thing I binged, dropped the next day. And I will tell you that I've watched every season of Power Rangers, and there's a lot of them that are really, really bad and campy, and there's no story to it. I'll give them this one. This one actually has a very good overarching story. Has a lot of fan service stuff. There's a lot of stuff they touch on that's nostalgic, or they might have a cameo here and there from people from the past. They might mention things or talk about different things from past seasons and stuff. Very fun. I gave it a 7 overall, just because there's still some camp to it. So you kind of like, at times as an adult watching it, but
yeah.
But for them, the way they did that, and it's kind of like a mini, because it's only 10 episodes and that's it for the entire season. But what I gather from what I've been reading in the last couple of weeks on it is that they didn't do a full season, and this is the first year fully on Netflix, because it's basically they're treating it like a mini series to end up the 30-year run, because they're going to reboot next year, or not next year, following year.
Okay.
Next year they're taking a year off, and then because the reboot, from what I'm seeing, is going to be a reboot taking place in kind of a cinematic type universe where there's Ranger series, and then they have a movie that might tie off, or very much like how Super Sentai does. Here's the season, here's the movie to tie it off, or to introduce it, or to introduce the next season, and then we go from there. But they're wanting to do more theatrical type stuff with it, and so I would say, for if that's going to be the final season and they reboot, and they're going to ignore all the 30-year history, say this is a new starting point, a new multiverse, or new universe aside of the Power Ranger multiverse, it was a good ending to it. If they're going to still refer back to it, that's okay, because it was still a good ending just for a season in the 30 years we've had. I would prefer, personal preference, I prefer that they continue on and say, that stuff still happened, here's just the newest one, and here's how we're going to tie everything going forward. I don't want to just...
Yeah, let's be honest. Jason, it wasn't the first group of people to get that particular set of power coins.
Yeah.
Why not just bring Zordon and Alpha back, the same power coins, give it to some new kids, and...
Yeah, I don't want to throw everything away, but that's kind of... We'll see what they do. I know they're not doing
Nude 52 it.
Yeah, well, I know we'd already heard they weren't doing any toys next year, and then as I heard this over the last couple of weeks about this being the reboot coming up, makes sense why there's no toys, because there's not going to be a show. And yes, you can still pump out Lightning Collection stuff with the old stuff, but at the same time, wait till you get a new show that you can bring in some. You could do like one or two little things trickle throughout the year, or maybe re-releases or something, and still keep people's interest and not spend a ton of time in a property that you're not sure exactly how you're rebooting it yet, because they're still not 100% certain what they want to do. But with that, that was all I watched, and I know we didn't discuss any wrestling, so I say all I watched because we didn't talk wrestling, because that's where we're going to next. So there's a lot of stuff been going on in the world of wrestling. Hassan, I'm going to let you kick us off in here. Where do you want to start at with this?
It's been a pretty big week. I guess we can kick off with WWE come out the gate swinging by signing Jade Cargill. I mean, this made national news. Like, this was a Sports Illustrated. This was major fucking news.
They did
that AEW rookie signed with WWE.
But why is it such big news? She's not. Don't get me wrong. I don't have nothing against her, but she's not The Rock. She's not John Cena. She's not Stone Cold.
She's had 55 matches. Literally every match she had was televised and on TV because they don't do house shows. But I mean, she's got a presence like no other. And then she'll be big in WWE. There, without a doubt, she will be big there. But they come out the gate swinging with that. They hyped the shit out of it, and every major platform picked it up.
Yeah.
And wow, because like matter of fact, even last night on Raw, they said something on SmackDown. And they done another video package last night about her arriving at the PC, and then Corey Graves, a storm will definitely be coming, because she always has her trademark white hair and her very stormish look. So that was a pretty cool nod there to the nerds, to the rest of us, and that was big news. And Tony Khan has went on record to say he made her an offer, she turned it down. He come back with another more than generous offer, was his words, thinking that okay, she'll take this. And she turned that down as well. So she knew she was going to WWE, without a doubt. I think she was hoping he'd drive the number up just to be able to tell TKO and Vince, hey, look, I just got offered this. They wanted her, without a doubt. They wanted her. And she'll do well there. Vince has probably got another class action suit coming anytime now, because she is what he wants in a guy, let alone a female. I mean, she's big body type athlete. She's got a physical presence. I was really expecting her to show up last night when females kept hitting the ring in the opening segment. I was like, she's going to pop up. I'm so surprised they haven't had her pop up yet.
So, well, my understanding too is she's going straight to the main roster, even though she probably needs to spend more time in NXT, because she's not that.
She does. Anyway. She's still very green. She's still very green. I mean, she the matches she's had, she's been in there with some more seasoned girls from the Indies, so she'll really be exposed here. I will say that, because pretty much your NXT girls are fairly damn polished for the most part. So when she gets there with some more polished talent, if they don't communicate with her, or if they don't try to shine her back, she's going to be Goldberg exposed. Like when Goldberg first went to, because he was protected like hell in WCW.
Oh yeah,
with good reason. I mean, they knew what they had there, and he was money. And WWE at the time, all they give a shit about was shitting all over WCW anyways. It was dead and buried, and they owned it, and it just made no sense to me. Why would you not build it because you still owned it? Just because it's no longer a promotion, it's your property.
Well,
make it look like something. So, but anyways, so yeah, if some of those girls get jealous, yeah.
So before we go past that, though, one of the things you brought up was that there was you said something about Vince and the class action lawsuit. So have you seen the stock information?
It ain't good. Not what last I seen.
Well, I don't know what the shares stuff like that, but did you see what he got out of this whole deal? So there's always been the controversy of him coming back, selling it, doing all this, right? So the type stock that he got when they completed the merger, everyone else who got stock is basically locked into it for a certain amount of time. Like a lot of mergers do this, where you can't sell it right away because that would be like insider trading.
Yeah.
And it's up to a certain point, right? You could do if you were a minor holder and you had like 2 shares of stock, you could have probably still sold it no matter what. But like for major stockholders, it becomes a whole thing where you have to hold on to a certain amount of time. You get roped into it, and you're like, you get paid through your stock options for so long. That's your payout on it. He actually got a stock option package that's actually he can sell it immediately.
Well, from what I was to understand, there was something along the lines of they're so scared another lawsuit's going to come out. And he's, in a sense of a publicly traded company, he can be a bit of a detriment to them.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's why they've done it that way, was what I'd read somewhere where I know what you're talking about now. It's there's something about him being on the board where they were a little leery about having him on the board because of that.
Yes, that's the reason that they were willing to do it, but he was willing to do it because, hey, if it's going to go down, I can sell it right away and get my money back out of it. All these other people are still stuck with it for a few months, and if it goes up or down, that's not my problem.
Well, let's face it, it's too big to fail at this point. I mean, it's part of the entity of, well, I guess it's TKO now, but you got the UFC, WWE, they're not going to fail. I mean, they have their fan base.
For the most part.
No matter how bad it gets, you're still going to have people that they're just institutionalized. I mean, it'll dwindle over time, but it would take a long time for it to fail.
Yes, it will take longer. That's the question really is, are they going to stay high enough, long enough to just run AEW out the door?
Well, I mean, AEW come back with a counterpunch. I mean, they actually pulled off a major coup Sunday. I mean, they signed Edge to a deal. I mean, that was
yes and no. We can talk about our opinions on that, but I'll let you go first.
That's a major deal, dude. I mean, has Edge done? Is he long in the tooth? Yes. Is his best days behind him? Yes. However, he is a name brand notoriety. I'd say he's probably. He's actually, they're actually building his rated R superstar. Adam Copeland.
That I get, but if you put Adam Copeland, if you had no picture of it and you just put it on internet, so Adam Copeland signed with AEW, how many wrestling fans, a casual wrestling fan, not these hardcore 800,000 people who watch AEW every week?
75% no at this point, because he's done some shit outside of the ring. I mean, he was in some of the CW shows. He was in a couple of various super sci-fi type shows. I think he's done enough to get some name brand. Is he a household name? No, not as Adam Copeland. He probably ain't a household name as Edge. But I do think he can be the positivity, veteran-wise, that they were hoping to get out of CM Punk.
Now, yes, I do agree that he will be a better influence on their locker room probably than CM Punk is, because he seems to be a much more laid-back, nice guy type thing. However,
he wants to teach and give back. That's the thing about it.
But you got to look at that from AEW perspective too. How many of those people want to be taught? Most of them don't act like they do. A lot of them.
This will be the chance to really see. I mean, what they got, because they've already announced his first match, which I will say that's kind of smart. They've announced his first match after his first appearance, which is good because it's actually going to be on a Tuesday versus a Wednesday, because I'm assuming because of baseball playoffs, that'd be on Turner Network and whatnot. They'll be on like this Wednesday on Dynamite. He'll be on there to talk.
Yeah.
The next Tuesday on the Tuesday edition, they've already said he's facing Luchasaurus. So that was like immediately announced, which is good strategy, because they're going to be going head to head with NXT, who they run off of Wednesday nights. And I think they'll peak. I think they'll do well that night. Are they going to start magically kicking ass and busting over 1 million views? No, they'll probably bust over 1 million this week. A little over 1 million. Next week, they'll fall back down to about 800,000 or 900,000, and that's probably where they'll typically stay, about 900,000.
That's where they're usually at anyway. They'll just plateau back off where they were. I don't think they'll. So I will give my opinion on it real quick. Just a couple of different things. I think for them, it's going to give them a little bit of a boost for a short period. I don't think it's a sustainable boost, because even CM Punk wasn't a sustainable boost for them when he went there. It was 2 weeks of 1 million viewers and then right back down to their standard crowd. Even when he came back, I mean, yeah, he had controversy later on, but when he came back and did the Friday night show, a boost the first one, went way below all the rest of their shows for the rest of them, right?
Saturday Collision.
Yeah. So I don't think that Edge will make a difference on that. I think that's just where their crowd is. Now, does he have the ability to do more in the locker room? Probably. A better demeanor to pull it off? Probably than CM Punk, yes. Do I think that he'll make a difference there? No, because all the folks backstage have already, everybody who's gone over there, everybody who's gone from WWE, what have they really done? Jericho's on there every week and nobody really cares. Christian's done okay for himself there, but at the same time, he's not in the main event picture. He's just in the high
Christian
mid
is putting off he is like one of the best heels in the business right now. The shit he's doing is slimy heat. And it fits him so well. Like all the shit where he's like, every week he's bashing somebody's dead father. And he's like, he's been telling Nick Wayne, tell your mom to call me.
It was funny the first couple of times, but now it's kind of like, do you have anything else? Or is this the only, this is like walking in with a yo mama joke and it's the only joke you have.
You know what? I love it. The man wrestles in a sleeveless turtleneck now. He is just, dude, it's like when he was like not the TNT champion. Luchasaurus he's like toting the title around each week, and he had his daughter escorted out because she wanted to hold the title. He's like, she doesn't have her papers. Send her out of here. I was like, dude, he's great right now. I love it. But you're a wrestling fan. Come on.
But he's still not the main event card. He's still the high mid card for him, which doesn't make sense because he's been around forever. Look at when William Regal was backstage and he basically taught everybody in NXT. And nobody would listen to him what he says. So he finally like, I'm just going to leave and I'm going to say it's because my son's going to work here. It's really just because I want out of here.
Well, more and more has come out. And CM Punk had a large to do with that right there too. Like, apparently they had a huge fucking scuffle almost. CM Punk's first week there, because we went to shake his hand. And I guess they had some past heat, because of Triple H and some things of this nature. And fucking Pepsi Field pretty much told him to get the fuck out of his face. He wasn't nothing but one of Triple H's bitches and a stooge to keep going. And so I think that had a lot to do with
I've seen that, but that doesn't relate back to people like Hangman Page, who already hated Punk anyway, and they getting along with him, telling Regal, we already know what we're doing. We don't really need to listen to you.
Well,
and that story's come out multiple
times. That's the problem. I mean,
so
him and General Perry should be listening. I like Adam. Cowboy Adam Page. He's one of my guys over there. But I mean, because he's got that. It's kind of a mix between Magnum TA and Stone Cold a little bit. I dig it. But he does need to listen to veterans. They got fucking wisdom for a reason.
And that's one of the things I think that will be missed, because even with Edge being over, I don't think they're going to listen to him necessarily. But the biggest thing for me is I think that I would say for them, it's a win. For him, I think it was a complete loss for him to go over there. And I say
so you feel it's like when Hogan first went to WCW?
No, not like that. I think it's a loss for him because as you watch, and again, I don't watch every week of AEW. I watch bits and pieces here and there. But the amount of people that go over there, the style of wrestling they do, and for Edge to say in an interview he felt like he wanted to do more and he felt free after he signed with them. The problem is a lot of these guys over there, they feel this need that they have to do more, they have to show off more. And he's like, he wasn't wrestling that much on WWE. There's probably a reason for that, because what was it, 9 years you were retired? 7 years or 9 years? 9, wasn't it? For almost a decade.
Yeah, close.
For almost a decade.
We were at the Mania that he actually was his last match.
For almost a decade, you had to retire from this thing that you love to do because you were so beat up and so hurt and your neck was so messed up. You got the opportunity to come back. The style of wrestling that they do in AEW, and I will argue anybody to tell me that anything they do is safe. The style of wrestling they do there is going to be conducive to him getting hurt even worse again. And
it's very risky. It is.
I mean, Matt Hardy got concussions and busted open from chairs being thrown at him. John Moxley, he can say what he wants to about it was the dive at the beginning of the match. He was knocked out from that pile driver he took because that dude was motionless and cold. And then he finally.
The ref just let it keep going.
And he woke up and the guy gave him another one. I'm like, dude, this man was already unconscious. He wasn't even, his body wasn't even twitching. You knocked him out and you did it again. All the stuff that, even Sting, as much as I love Sting, busted his face diving through a table. Has been doing dives he's never done before. I'm like, dude, these people are all going to end up getting hurt very badly because nobody's looking out for. Nobody's saying no, don't do that, or looking out for them. And yes, I get Edge probably wanted to do more matches and be in the main event picture, but for one, I don't think he's going to be main event picture in AEW right away. They're going to put him against Christian, so he's going to be that upper mid card. And two, man, the way they wrestle, there's probably a reason that WWE is saying, please don't do that because we really can't afford for you to get hurt since you just came back. And let's be honest, how many times did he get hurt the first few months he was back?
Yeah, he had what did he tear, tricep?
Yeah, he went out twice with injuries, didn't he? After coming back in his first.
Yeah, I know he tore a tricep and something else. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. They do wrestle a little too much of a haphazardly style there, so to speak, and there's no one there to tell them no, just like what you said.
Yeah,
and they rely too damn much on New Japan Pro wrestlers, and like the ones that are featured each week, like the cat that's with Don Callis. I like that dude. He's developed into a character. Like when he first showed up a few times, like who the fuck is this guy? But like for the but he's developed into a character that's a AEW product. Okay, cool. Those are fine. But they'll just throw out random damn names, and that's like supposed to be a massive name and a massive match. Like Danielson just had that match with Zack Sabre Jr. Okay, you're hardcore, super hardcore wrestling fan. They know who he is. Or like Will Ospreay. They know who these guys are. Your average fan don't know who the fuck these people are. Because they're not stateside wrestlers. We're in the States. No. These are big draws if you were to try to do a show in Japan, in London, in somewhere, somewhere else. In the US, they're not known names. And they rely on that a little too damn much for my taste. Which is the only knock I really have out of them.
And they let those people do whatever they want to. Like, okay, let's go back to you're going to put Edge. For one, he spent 10 years on the shelf, hurt. He's 10 years older than he was before he got hurt. And you should do a lot of physical matches like the TLC matches and stuff with the Dudleys and all. And yeah, but you're going to put him in the ring now. Just say you put him against, was it Vikingo or whatever his name is that beat Jack Perry like he owned him one night on there. Like, took no regard for that man's life at all.
That's Roosh. Roosh is who got him.
Who that was?
Roosh fucked him up. He had his way with him.
Like,
but in Mexico, they wrestle a style that is, you got to take it. They don't just give it to you.
Right, but nobody told him any difference. Said, hey, don't do that. And at the time, they were pushing Jungle Boy into the main event picture. It's like, hey, don't beat up the guy who's got to go out and have a main event match because we don't injure this man.
He made him look like the drizzling shits in there.
So you're going to put somebody like that in the ring with Edge. And then Edge seems like a very nice gentleman on the outside, right? Like when he's not in the ring. So he's not going to be like, hey, motherfucker, and take his, give him a receipt or something. He's going to be like, we need to talk about this, but he's going to be hurt by that time. That's my fear for him. And I'm not a huge Edge fan anyway, but I don't dislike him. It's just, I don't
see him. I'm not an Edge head like Big Rob is. I do think I enjoy the guy. I mean, it's exciting to see him and Christian together in the same promotion. Would I like to see them on the same side of the fence? Yes. And I'm sure we'll get that at some point. Yeah. But right now, Christian's doing some of his best heel work of his career, honestly. Even if you're not an AEW fan of it, he's doing some of his best character-wise heel work of his career. I mean, would I like to see him in a more featured spot? Yes. And I'd like to see him and Edge both there myself. But because this Bebe shit with Adam Cole and MJF is just... it's run its course for me.
Yeah, I think that for them and for the style they have and how many years they spent, I think Edge would have been better off staying WWE, fully retire from there, finish his career there. And don't get me wrong, I don't think that they'll not take him back. I don't think this was a good move. I think he'll end up probably getting hurt and regretting it later, if not.
No, I mean, with where they are company-wise, I don't see there being any like Macho Man taking Slim Jim hard feelings.
Yeah,
they're probably like, hey, look, good for him. We weren't going to pay him what he wanted at this point.
And I don't see either where it's going to be something like, okay, you went over there and then like he goes over there and all of a sudden AEW is 83 weeks or 87 weeks, whatever it was, where they're going to start beating WWE in a row. It ain't going to happen. It's just the interest is not there.
They're going to have to draw a big star, and I mean a big star, to ever really. And I'm not okay. I'm not saying Edge isn't a big star. I'm just saying You need a
It's
young
gotta be a
enough big
household
star.
name.
As a Roman Reigns type star power guy, you would have to pull one of them away from WWE to really shake the foundation enough to make people go, ooh. Well, that being said, we talking about star power. What about the mega star? L.A. Knight making a save for Cena on Friday night. Yeah.
That was a good setup. I found out, I guess because I missed the week before when it was supposed to be AJ,
Yeah.
which I would have liked to have seen AJ get pushed into this thing with the bloodline, and maybe they will because there's still three of them and there's Cena, AJ, and LA Knight. But I guess LA Knight was always supposed to come out and join Cena for that, and AJ was supposed to get hurt.
COVID.
Yeah, that's why he wasn't there.
Yeah, so I'm actually kind of excited for that match on Saturday.
Well, we'll hold that because we're going to get to those predictions in a minute. Was there anything else other than all the releases WWE did? That was the last thing I had from the state of affairs right now for them. I mean, well, in attendance, I would like to talk attendance a little bit.
I got a handful of things. I mean, like injury-ridden Nia Jax returns. That's not a good move.
No.
When I cringed when I seen her come out there, I'm like, fuck. Because literally what happens? Rhea Ripley hurt. Just missed a few weeks. I mean, that was a work. I mean, a shoot. It was not a work. They're very indecisive on some things right now. You got Cody kind of floundering around. I mean, I don't know.
I think part of that has to do with The Rock having been back and talking about what they did, where they shelved their WrestleMania plans or whatever. And let's be honest, because the writer strike is over with actually, and the Screen Actors Guild strike is still going on, and they were in negotiations for the last 2 days with nothing coming out of it. But with him being back because he doesn't have anything else to do, then say, oh, well, maybe we could do something. There's still always time for WrestleMania. Now they're like, oh, we could have The Rock at WrestleMania. That would be even bigger. So
but
now
you know
what are we going to do with Cody in the meantime?
With Iron's hot. I mean, personally, I don't even want them to wait to Mania. If they're going to do it, Survivor Series is where it needs to take place. That's the other part. Roman Reigns' title reign. Is it really got the same oomph that Hogan or San Martino has just because of the fact that he's never fucking there?
Faced?
Literally, he's only defended the title a handful of times in the last year. He hasn't been on WWE television in close to 2 months.
Not only that, so you look at some of those, the Hogan fought Macho Man, Roddy Piper, Paul Orndorff, all these people who were at the time at the height of fame for what they're into, right? When he went against Sting, even in the WCW and the NWO thing, right? So who's Roman beat? Okay, I'll give him Goldberg. That's a big name. Brock? Who else?
Everybody else actually includes Brock, Goldberg, The Fiend.
He did beat Edge.
AJ.
AJ's never reached quite the heights of a Macho Man or something, though. And neither has Cody yet.
Cody's
on his way there.
Let's be honest. I mean, no one will reach the heights of what some of yesteryear's stars did.
No, but that's my point, though. There's not as much luster if you're not. So if you're a pro tennis player, a female pro tennis player, and you've beat everybody in the world except you never played Serena or Venus Williams, who cares?
Very true.
Just the argument all the time right now, LeBron James. Everybody's all right. He's still not the GOAT because he never played Michael. He never beat Michael.
His stats ain't really there with Mike's either, though. When
you
start matching them up,
but still, same sort of thing, right?
I get what you're saying. I mean, look at Tyson Fury. He's a heavyweight champion of the world, and literally, who's he beat? Devontae Wilder. That's it.
Did he ever fight Mike Tyson? Nope. Then who's going to remember? No. But who remembers Mike Tyson and George Foreman and Muhammad Ali?
He'll fight the closest thing to Mike Tyson when he fights Nagano next month. That'll be because Mike's training him. So yeah. So we'll see what we got there.
It's just a matter of the name recognition for those people, right? Like
to me, it's the fact that he's just not even there every week.
Yeah, I agree with you on both accounts. I mean, I think even when he is there and the people he beats, other than Cena, none of them are at that same level. Even Goldberg and Edge and stuff are not the same as a Cena level. They're not that mainstream. Goldberg's probably closer to it than any of the rest of them, but other than Cena and maybe Brock, I guess. Brock, Goldberg, Cena, that's kind of the three biggest names he's taken out, right?
Yeah, KO. the normal
Yeah,
people.
the ones who were there all the time.
He fought them over and over and over. That's the problem. I mean, here's my thing. Okay, he doesn't have to wrestle every week. I get it. Does he need to be there yet every week? Yes, at least 3 weeks a month.
Yeah.
When all you're doing is television, you should be there each and every week to 3 weeks a month, and do more than just show up every fucking 2 months and go acknowledge me, stand there, cut a good promo. Because I'm a Roman fan. Don't get me wrong, I am very much a Tribal Chief fan. I like the character. I like what they've done with it. Other than his absence in the ring, it no longer holds the.
Yeah.
It was the same thing when Brock was champion, and Brock would just disappear for fucking 45 days at a time with the title. Where's Jack Tunney to strip the son of a bitch of the damn title? He hadn't defended it in 30 days.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's the thing to me. It does take away from the specialness of holy shit, you've been a champion for 1,200 days or whatever the fuck it is. Yeah, that's an amazing feat. But would you not say that maybe CM Punk's year and a half reign might have been a little more special because he was there every week? Or even AJ Styles, who held it for just over 370 days or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I mean, and look who he was facing at the time, John Cena's. I mean, big names,
Yeah, and that's my point. Like, you can have a long reign for anything. I use the statistics when I'm doing some of my training that I do for work. So years ago, there was a study about education system, and everybody went around. Some of the countries that were involved in this study, because it was a countrywide study, said Russia went around and told everybody, said, "Hey, guess what? Actually, let me back up because I messed that all up. But there was countries in this study, and then China said we were number one in the study. U.S. was next to last. U.S. said we were number two in the study. There was only 3 people in the study. Russia was number 3. China, U.S.,
perception.
Russia. It's perception, right? It's the same thing with the title belt, right? If I go win it and then I go sit home for a year and I only defend it every year at WrestleMania. I could keep it for 5 years because I didn't have to lose, and then I can retire and say I had a 5-year reign. But what did I do? What did I accomplish?
Yeah,
I won 5 times.
So.
That it's just a perception.
Very much so. Yeah. So when you got UFC champions defending their title more regular than the WWE champion, it's a problem.
Yeah.
So I mean, one of the other things I have for WWE, and then I only have one other thing, which is AEW, but Nakamura is actually becoming one of the top heels in the company, and I'm pretty fucking happy with this.
He should have been a long time ago.
Yes.
If he wasn't going to be if he's going to be in a main event or a mid-card picture, which let's be honest, Rollins' belt is the consolation prize at WWE, but
very much
still high on the card because both of them can put on a good show, and they both should be. But yeah, I actually enjoy seeing him what he's doing right now. This is probably the best he's been in.
Oh, absolutely.
Since he came out of NXT.
Yeah, because this actually seems like this is a real Nakamura. I mean, because you get the video packages here and there where he's like kicking, ass in martial arts and whatnot, and then he's like sitting down like almost a Jake Roberts type, cadence to his promos. It's slow. He doesn't raise his voice. It's just methodical. And then he does some dastardly attack. Like last night, he's on the screen there, and then he just shows up while he's still on the screen, kicks his ass, and then starts doing the 1, 2 for the, last man standing match. I think they have to pull the trigger now. If not, they're going to wind up with the same boat they got with Cody. I mean, you can't shit the belt this man again. I mean, he won the Royal Rumble. You didn't give him the belt. The time is now to make him a viable, long-term heel for your company. Even if you don't keep the belt on him, he needs to win the title.
Yeah.
And keep it for at least, let Seth chase for, like, say, 60 days.
Yeah. And we can get into that some more because we'll do Fastlane predictions in a minute. We've been going a little bit, so we won't spend terrible amount of time on it. But I kind of agree with you there. But since you were on your last WWE thing, let me mention this as all the releases that they had. Not just talent, but we knew this was coming.
I was over 100 office staff, right?
We knew the office staff was going to get cut some because they're combining 2 companies. They're not.
Yeah.
If I've got one person in charge of this at each one of them, I probably don't need 2 I probably do just need one. So it's kind of known that it was coming, but it seemed to shock a lot of people, and I'm not sure why, because I've worked in business long enough, and yeah, my business is not the same as theirs, but I kind of got the point. I was like, yeah, if I combine two companies and I got a president of each company, do I really need two presidents, or I just need one? Yeah, same sort of concept, right? But the names, as far as the talent released, biggest name on that talent released to me was Dolph Ziggler, and that's only because he's been such a good hand for them for years. I really couldn't see them letting him go.
But he wasn't a head scratcher. Like when you looked at that list of talents, like, okay, a lot of you were lucky to have been employed as long as you were.
No, and Ziggler hadn't been being used as much in the last few months, but leading up to this year, maybe even the last year and a half, he was always there for a match. If you needed somebody to pull off a match or make somebody look good, he was the guy you went to, and you had him in there. And I'm not saying he was fantastic by any means. I don't dislike him, but I don't like him. But he was a good hand that you need and that you could have kept around. He was your Brooklyn Brawler. You needed somebody for that.
I'll say this: his in-ring work, it was good. He's a good hand, as you said. He just never come across to me character-wise. I don't care what variation you got of him. He never just correlated or spoke to me. I didn't ever just hate him as a character. I didn't get behind him as a face. I mean, there was never a point where I gave two shits one way or the other about him, to be honest. I mean, it was almost like I just want to turn the fucking channel while you're on.
Absolutely. But I do agree with everything you said. Is that I think that you have to, like, how many years was the Brooklyn Brawler or Barry Horowitz or whoever in WWE because you needed somebody to take the beating and still put on a good show. And at any point in the card, because he could have been in the main event, you could throw him in a Hell in a Cell or maybe even better, an Elimination Chamber, knowing that he's going to be the first guy going out, but he can put on a show in there and you can have him.
He would perform, and he was just big enough name value, I guess, to if you put say some up and coming guy over him, it gave him some notoriety there.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that was all I had for WWE stuff. So you said you had one other thing for AEW before we get into Fastlane predictions?
Yeah, first Strickland has finally emerged as someone I give a shit about.
I just do not like that dude.
Dude, I'll be honest, when he was in WWE, I didn't give two shits about him. And, he arrived in AEW, and I was like, okay. I mean, guys, very much Ziggler. Very much like Ziggler. He puts a good match out each week, no matter who he's in there with. I didn't really care for him and Keith Lee being together. That was kind of But I will say this: he's finally found his zone, his notch. I love the fact that they got Prince Nile or whatever, and he's there doing a little swerve dance there each week. And I was like,
swerve, run out drive.
I was like, I want to see this guy get his ass kicked so bad. But then, like,
that stupid ass song. So
yeah, I was at work the other day and that shit was going through my head. I was like, where the fuck did that just come from? But Swerve has actually found his spot. Like, his promos got to a point. It's like, oh shit, it's actually a good promo. His little feud with Cowboy, and I'm gonna be honest, I was super surprised to see he went over. But he needed to go over to really get across. Yeah. But I was surprised they'd done it because Cowboy needed a big win too.
But very, very quickly while we're on that, you talked about him being teamed with Keith Lee. Talk about people leaving WWE and just falling from whatever position they were in. That dude fell off that quicker than him walking off the edge of a ledge, and he's not a small guy.
Yeah, he's no longer limitless. I can tell you that. There's some limits. There's some limits to them bridges. There's been limits to them. They've been about to pop the last 3 times he's been out there.
The speed and stuff he used to do stuff with, and then watch him on there, it's like he's just. And I know he had a lot of health problems right before he left. But I'm like, dude, you might want to consider retiring.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad. It's bad. Yeah.
And his wife's going to be the breadwinner because she's back in WWE anyway, and they've tried to spotlight her. She's probably the only thing around AJ Styles besides AJ that got any sort of spotlight.
Yeah. Well, okay. While you're on that, why is Carl Anderson the only one that showed up the last couple weeks? Where the fuck is Gallows?
Well, I don't know. And then what was it that AJ told him a couple weeks ago? If you're not going to be serious, just go away anyway. I'm like,
Yeah, Gallows Day, he went home. We went out to Georgia. He said, "Fuck this shit." But Anderson came out there just to get squashed on Friday night. Which I will say, I'm digging Jimmy now. This new character Jimmy's developing, it's got legs. I like it.
I will give him that, but I will say that as far as the OC, just because we brought them up, I think Gallows got more airtime and better airtime when he was Festus.
Or Fake Kane.
Yeah. At least for Festus, he was being a character for himself.
Biscuits and gravy, baby. They make you a man.
Oh, Lord. So did you have anything, because any other stuff you wanted to cover?
Nah, that was actually the end of my wrestling, so to speak, other than our predictions.
I think the only other thing I had on my list, and we've talked it enough times, so I won't drill on it, but like the attendance for the shows and the way they're shooting them, like, dude, at least move everybody over to one section and turn the camera on and say, hey, we feel. They even brought up the Arthur Ashe Stadium. They're like, because that was such a big deal for them, and I know that the paper or the show did a pretty good buy rate, but at the same time, it's like you could tell the audience was half empty. They're like, why wouldn't you just move everybody to one side of the building, say, light up the building, say this half is full, the other half is the same, because you only see this one.
Yeah.
And they turned on all the lights.
Apparently, the stadium they were in for Wrestle Dream on Sunday, WWE run an event there on Saturday night.
Oh, really?
I didn't realize this till today. I seen it to the stats somewhere today. WWE run a house show in there on Saturday night, and they done, I think, 6,900 fans in there for a house show, which is about average. I mean, we've been to some shows like that. Yeah. Okay, Wrestle Dream was there, and that's a pay-per-view on Sunday, and they only got 6,800 fans. A pay-per-view for AEW drew less than 100 fans less than what a house show did. Which is basically just Saturday night main event is what they call their house shows now.
Which, first of all, I didn't even know that was supposed to be a pay-per-view. This whole Wrestle Dream, I thought it was just going to be their next episode of Collision or whatever. But when they talk about this Wrestle Dream, I don't understand Tony Khan's. We're doing this for the dream of Mr. Inoki. You don't even know the dude. The dude was gone out of all this before you were even involved.
I suppose he'd been there, 10 years at least?
Yeah. And I mean,
what? They had his grandsons out there. And they missed the opportunity with Christian there. Christian should have come out there at that point.
but what did that show have to do with the dream of Antonio Inoki? Because Inoki wrestled old school Japan style. None of the matches they had looked like anything they did.
Closest thing you probably had to it would have been Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. probably.
Yeah.
That would have by far probably been the closest thing to it.
Yeah, I didn't understand that whole thing of why that's about that. And other than the rumor that's going around that he's buying New Japan, that Tony's buying New Japan, and I'm like, dear God, please don't do that, because you can't run what you got now, and you got two promotions now. Do not buy a third, because you're just going to run all of them into the ground.
Yeah, he's spreading himself too thin as it is, to be honest. And let's be honest, pay-per-view format is dead. Vince killed wrestling pay-per-views.
Oh, yeah.
Well, when he went to streaming,
he made it, and then he turned around and said, I made you, and I can take you out of this world.
And he did. He did. I mean,
absolutely.
The pay-per-view format is, and honestly, the only thing it's still alive for is boxing to some small level, and it's not what it used to be. And MMA, and even the MMA, it's not what it used to be, because people just go to Wild Wings now or sports bars and go in there and, you can buy some overpriced wings and beer and watch it for free.
It doesn't even work for porn anymore, because you can get porn on the internet for free everywhere, from your phone, your tablet. I mean, nothing needs to be sold on pay-per-view at all.
No, I mean,
who needs to buy it?
Exactly. You just wait a couple of hours and somebody have it on YouTube or somewhere.
It's just like going to the theater. That's almost a dead medium right now, because I still go to and watch a lot of Marvel movies and stuff like that. But at the same time, I didn't go see Equalizer 3. I've already seen an announcement for the date that it's going to be on streaming. I went and saw Blue Beetle, but it'll be on there on streaming on HBO in a couple weeks.
I was going to say, literally, if you're somebody that can wait 60 days, most anything in theater will be on streaming somewhere within 60 days.
The stuff
sometimes less.
The stuff that I really wanted to see, and I used to would have gone just because I love action movies in the theater, but I just like, I got stuff going on at work. I can wait till streaming. Expendables 4, Equalizer 3, both of those in the last month come out. Both of them are already announced for like November, December being on streaming. I'll just wait.
Typically, unless it's a big horror franchise or a big Marvel movie. And I used to, I would go see every Marvel movie. Now it has to be a big one, or I will wait for it to stream. And I will say Marvel, I'll give them a little more credit. Them and Disney do wait a little longer before they throw their shit on streaming. They do make you wait about 4 months. But I mean, that's still quicker than it used to be. Well, yeah, used to you had to wait a good year before it was on HBO or Cinemax or something to that. Because it'd be on DVD within 6 months, and then you had to wait, another 6 months for it to hit.
But they don't do it terrible. I mean, even Indiana Jones 5 is fixing to debut on Disney Plus within the next month, I think.
Yeah, I mean, people have got to where you'd rather watch it at home. Theaters, pay-per-view, even DVD format, it's dying.
Yes, it is. But since you brought up pay-per-views, to keep us moving, because we have spent a little bit more time than we expected to on some of
they're premium live events now, pal.
Yeah, let's go straight to the premium live event of Fastlane and talk about the matches there. So, I don't have the matches in order. I don't know if you do.
I have them right here, actually.
Do you have them in order or no? I have them. I just don't have them in order.
No, I just threw them out there on the side I was on, but.
So let's save a couple of them for last. Let's start with LWO versus the new Hurt Business, or whatever the hell they're calling themselves now.
I got Lashley and the Street Profits over the LWO, and I actually think Escobar does a heel turn.
I can see that. I think the LWO is still probably going to pull it out because they've been trying to figure out how they want to push that, and I don't think they know what they want to do with this new team of Lashley and Street, because one minute they're all getting along, and the next minute he's yelling at them because they did something wrong, and one of them was like hesitant about what they do. So I don't know if they know where they're going with that.
They're all back and forth on if they're heels or not.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They can't decide.
Bobby Lashley, he acts like a heel, but then he wrestles like a heel and does heelish shit, but he tries to act like a face when he's coming to the ring and everything. It's like, so what are you? Street Profits the same way. So
that's the only reason I picked LWO, because I'm not sure if they've decided what they're doing with either function yet. So they'll probably go with the one that they think that they can push. But so what about the women's match next? Io Sky, Asuka, and Charlotte Flair.
I think Flair picks up the dub.
I don't know. I haven't seen anything about this. The only reason I picked Io Sky only because I think that maybe they'll keep pushing her because that's what they've been doing. But I haven't.
Well, eventually it's going to come down to her and Bayley, but I think the title comes off of her, and then her and Bayley have a feud without the title.
That might be it. I haven't watched any of their stuff. I'm not going to lie. So, all right. I guess the other three, because there's only 5 announced matches so far, at least I can find. So these other 3 are kind of bigger storyline wise, I guess. So we got Judgment Day versus Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso.
I got Cody and Jey. Pick up the W and the titles.
I don't know if they will, because I don't think they'll take the titles off the Judgment Day, because they're having fun with them being the massive heel group. I think Judgment Day pulls that one out just for that. Just to keep the titles on them.
They had the dissension on Monday where Damian was real quick to point out, I didn't lose my title. Dom did. So, and he's like, I'm still got my title. I still got my briefcase. So I don't know. I almost, and they've been teasing the dissension between Damian and Finn for a while. I don't know. I don't see how it's over at Cody and JR right now. Well, what is that? They all wouldn't be good for them.
I don't. It wouldn't. I don't know if it would hurt or help, but maybe they win. Maybe they win by disqualification. Just don't get the belts, because I don't think they'll take the belts off Judgment Day. That's my only thing.
I don't really want to see it on them. That's just what I see the way their booking goes.
Yeah. So let's go to, this is probably one of the main event just because it's the title, but Seth versus Shinsuke.
I want Nakamura to win, but I think they're going with Seth. It's just the way the setup looks.
I don't think they're taking it off Seth until he's ready to go. Until they finally end this actor strike and he goes to shoot Captain America. That's when he'll lose it, I think. And this is my most anticipated match just because this is the only one I actually like all the participants in, or to a degree. I like some of the others, but this is the one I'm actually enjoying some of the participants. But Cena and L.A. Knight versus the Bloodline.
I think what I say. You know who I got. I got the megastar. I think he picks up the win for the team, actually.
I think that they do win that because there's no way that they're going to bring Cena back and just make him lose repeatedly. Roman's not there and involved, so the Bloodline can lose. So, and it gives Roman something to yell at Jimmy about when he comes back, because if Jimmy takes the loss,
Dude, I seen the stat the other day. Cena hasn't won a match in 2,000 days. How crazy is that?
That is weird. Yeah, I see him and LA Knight winning this one, but
yeah, by far. I do like the new Jimmy Uso though. More and more the way he just comes across. I'm digging that character. I'd like to see a segment with that character and Christian.
That would be interesting.
That would be the shits.
So I guess with that, let's pop straight over into Nerd Out. For anybody who hasn't been here before, this is the section of the show where we ask random questions centered around topics of the day. We have to respond with no prep time. We would love to hear your answers as well. So if you want to answer our questions, please feel free to do that in the comments or expand upon what answers we gave. And Hassel, do you have anything ready for this week? Because I know sometimes we do and sometimes we don't.
I actually do. I do.
Oh.
Somewhere. Aha. There that motherfucker is. So, what dream match would you book as the ultimate main event of WrestleMania? You can pick anybody from any time, any era, any prime, and that's your main event.
I want the match we never got, and I don't think this is necessarily the biggest because there's names you could put in here and be bigger. Because honestly, I think like Hogan and Rock was going to be a bigger one than this one. But I want the match we never got that we all wanted, and I want Pro Sting versus The Undertaker.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a damn good one.
And I don't want that. I want I don't want the dead man. I want the actual Undertaker.
Okay, so we're talking 96 Taker.
What year was it where he was really evil and he was like running a ministry and stringing people up across
99.
and stuff? Yeah. So let's take him first thing.
Ministry of Darkness Taker would be bad. That would be great, actually.
And you could do Sting as the redeeming soul, like the storyline that they try to give him, like he's the Crow and stuff, right? Then have the the forces of evil, and he's the anti-hero against them. That would be interesting to see.
That would be promos with very few words, but it would fucking work.
It'd speak volumes for nothing being said.
Wow, that'd be awesome, actually. Wow.
Like I said, I don't think that's the biggest name-wise, but that would be the one that I'd want to see.
Okay. That's legit. I got for the WWF Championship, when it was the Federation, it actually seemed like it fucking mattered. So for the WWF Winged Eagle in an Iron Man match, I got Kurt Angle and Bret Hitman Hart.
That would be a good one.
Them two for an hour would be just fucking balls out. That would
be a good one to watch.
Sting and Taker, that's right there with that for me, though. That would be.
And I'll give you a bonus one because I think this one, maybe again, name value is not necessarily the highest out there, but just the stuff that they would do in the ring. Shawn Michaels from, basically from the era of him and Bret doing an hour Iron Man, him and AJ.
96.
Yeah, him and AJ against each other. AJ and his.
Ooh.
AJ probably prior to WWE because he hasn't really been as innovative in WWE as he was allowed to be beforehand.
Okay, so we're talking Bullet Club AJ. 96 Shawn. Why don't we interject Kenny Omega in there and have a triple threat for the Intercontinental title?
That would be all right too. I'm not a huge Omega fan. I like him better than I like the Young Bucks and stuff, but I'm not overly impressed by him. Like he's
a good spot wrestler. He has his matches, so to speak.
He's a good spot, but you know how everybody always talks about you. Everybody always says Shawn can make work a match with a broom and make it look good. True. And Kenny Omega believes he could, but I'm not so sure you could.
He's not. I'm not a Shawn Michaels fan, but he is not in Shawn Michaels' ball court at all. Yeah, he can sit there and watch from the sideline while they play NBA Street.
Oh man, that would be fun to watch. So either one of those, but for me, this is the question I have for you. And we were getting into it a little bit while we were talking earlier, but I want to expand on it now. So, is there anybody you believe that's currently in WWE that you think could truly defect AEW and make a big difference and move them up on their base levels? Move them up out of their base audience levels and actually make them a credible threat to WWE.
Mm. It would pretty much take a Roman or a Cena, I think. And no wrong, it's not like Cena's got a lot of time left, and he's even went on record to say, "Hey, look, I am winding down."
Yeah, which makes sense.
It would take one of the two of them. Star power wise, if you just brought them on for say a few months, Rock could really tip a needle if you were to get him somehow up here.
So here's my answer to that. Just because I think I don't think there's anybody in WWE right now. I'm not including Cena because he's just there because he can't do anything else. I don't think there's anybody in WWE who can actually defect and go over and make it worthwhile. I know we talked about it with Edge. I don't think he's big enough name to do it. He's big enough to get some more interaction, but he's not a Rock. He's not a Stone Cold. Punk, short-term burst, just like what Edge is probably going to see, and then fizzled out right away, right after that. But even Roman, I don't think Roman is a big enough name. Like, he's not, outside of wrestling, he's not a mainstream, well-known guy. Like Stone Cold, people who never watched wrestling in their life knew who Stone Cold was and started watching him because of him.
But we'll never see those days again, honestly.
No. And Hulk Hogan was the same way, right? What propelled WCW to be competitive with WWE? Well, first it was Hogan going over, and then it was the
even
NWO
if he was facing the Dungeon of Doom at the time, it piqued people's interest.
And then it
made people like Kevin Nash and Scott Hall say, you know what?
Kept people there long. It kept the mainstream non-wrestling fans interested long enough to see the NWO start. And the NWO was like, oh, what is this? Because this is like realistic.
Yeah.
For me, for them to really go to the next level, I think you would have to have Rock, Stone Cold, maybe Cena could do it, but outside of that, there's nobody right now I think that could just go. I mean, even your names like a Hogan is not going to go over and wrestle right now. So him or Ric Flair, somebody showing up on AEW is not. It's pop for wrestling fans, and that's it.
Yeah, kind of like what they did when they went to Impact.
Yeah,
I will say, were he healthy and could wrestle weekly, Randy Orton could really do something. Because Randy could, whether you like him or not, he's a hell of a hand in the ring.
Oh,
and he's got star power.
I think
he would probably be as close to anyone as far as current stars.
Yeah, I think he would be the same. To me, I think if he got over there, it would be the same as what it's going to be with Edge. It's going to give him some help, and it's going to give him some propulsion forward, but it's not going to break that where they're hitting 1 million every week type thing. I don't know if I don't know if the random viewer is going to tune in and say, hey, there's Randy Orton there. But if you tune in and you're just flipping TV and you're like, holy shit, The Rock's on here. It's different.
You know what? Eric Bischoff, really, I don't like to agree with him very much, but he actually pointed out something about a week ago I read, and actually it does ring true. The wrestling fan has become more tribalized, so to speak. You got your AEW fans,
yep.
Just give or take 1 million. Maybe they got 1.5 million and they just don't tune in every week. Let's just be friendly. So you got your 1.5 million AEW fans, and they're hardcore, and they go to bat for it. They tune for it, whether they tune in every week or not. That's what it is. And then you got your WWE fans. There's roughly about 3 million of those. I mean, I know there's supposedly 100 millions or whatever, but you got roughly 2 to 3 million people tuning in to watch WWE each week. And then you got your ones that watch both. And there's less and less fans that watch both nowadays. Yeah. But look at how much TV time they suck up. If you really are a wrestling fan and you watch TV, my wife hates me some nights because of the amount of wrestling that's on now. I mean, we watch it on Monday night.
Oversaturated.
I do skip NXT, and it's only because I'll catch a match here or there, but I skip NXT on Tuesday, but then I got AEW on Wednesday. Friday night SmackDown.
Yeah.
So you've only skipped Tuesday and Thursday there. Now Saturday has a show, and it's like, okay, you got a Saturday show or you got a Saturday pay-per-view now.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes Sunday you used to have a pay-per-view. So, I mean, it's almost on every night of the week now.
It's just oversaturated. I mean, that's what, and it's just like a lot of stuff. It's even for me. I love wrestling. I like to watch it. I get the shorter version of both Raw and SmackDown because of Hulu, and I watch them both that way. And I fast forward through a lot of stuff still, and I catch the main things I want to. And I'll look online and find one because I don't have it streaming anywhere. I'll find a few matches here and there that I like or I want to see how it happened from AEW or the big spot stuff.
Yeah.
I can't sit there and watch a whole show of hardly any of them anymore. It just there's not even when it's a weekend and it's a premium live event or a pay-per-view or whatever. It's hard to sit there for that long and watch just that because I'm like I got other stuff I want to watch. I want to do. A lot of times, if I'm watching a premium live event from WWE, I'm also reading a comic or playing a game on my tablet too at the same time, just because I'm just not that into every little bit.
I'm still a big enough fan to where I can enjoy it. I will say I do play on my phone probably more than I should during certain matches.
Yeah.
I mean, that's typically when me, you, and Rob's going back and forth, or busting Casey's balls or something like that. But yeah, during certain matches, I break the phone out and dig around more than I should. And you didn't do that during the old Attitude days.
But with that, I think that we've been here for a while, so I think that brings us to a close. But before we leave, Vassal, tell everybody where they can find us at.
Man, we're all over the fucking place. Nah. Honestly, you can find us on Twitter at Nerdy MR Show. You can find us on Instagram at the Nerdy Manroom Show. You can find us on Facebook, Hassel Hutchinson via the Nerdy Manroom Show. We are on TikTok now at the Nerdy Manroom Show. We are on YouTube, the Nerdy Manroom Show. We're on Spotlight Media, on Roku, and Fire TV through our sponsor Spotlight Media and Zone Collectibles. And we are on Geek Network.
And remember, if you are interested in joining Geek Network, we are still looking for more members to help with interviews and reviews. Check out the graphic somewhere on the screen, somewhere in here. I don't know where just yet, but it'll be up here. So check that out for details on how to apply to join up with us. And while you're checking us out, don't forget to go check out our extended Nerdy Manroom family member, Big Rob. You can find him on his channel, Big Rob's House of Entertainment and No Chinese Food.
Chinese food!
Where he does fantastic unboxings of new items as well as reviews, and he's still in his series of canon movie reviews. He's got, I don't know, probably 19 or so more left to do. I think he had like 20-something movies there, but
a lot.
But after you check that out, make sure you go see our sponsor, These On Collectibles. We want to give them a big thank you for sponsoring the show. You can find them on the internet at theseoncollectibles@gmail.com and on Facebook at These On Collectibles or in their store at 305 Main Street, Tifton, Georgia. Visit them for all your nerdy needs. Help them support the local artist community by supporting their cause of bringing unity through community. Fandoms unite. And afterwards, when we close out here in a second, stick around for the credits. You'll get to check out some of our other friends and our extended Geek Network family members. So check out their details in the credits. Join us here next time. We're going to have a surprise episode because we're still working on it. So it'll be a surprise for us too at this point. Until then, live nerdy in the fast lane.